welcome to Rathods Science Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see current affairs of 4th February 2025. So let's get started with our discussion. And one thing I want to say before starting our class, that is you need to be very much clear and you have to know each and every part of your UPSC syllabus. So if you know the syllabus, then you can easily identify which are the articles important from your UPSC point of view, and you can select the right article and you will be knowing what to read and what not to read, so that you will be not spending 1 hour to 1.5 hour in your newspaper. Okay, you can save a lot of time and you will be in a very right direction. Okay, so let us see the first article. See the title, guys. Okay, so if you see the first article, it is talking about something regarding your economy, that is about dollar and Indian rupee. So if you see the title, clearly it says that amid global meltdown, rupee breaches 87 against the dollar. So this article is talking about rupee value against $1. So as you all know that from last 1 month onwards, we are saying that rupee value is decreasing against dollar. So if you see the recent development, that is nothing but global development. So what is happening with this dollar? For example, yesterday Trump said we are going to impose more tariff on goods which are coming from which countries? Mexico, Canada and China. On China, extra 10%. So normally Trump said 25% of imposition of import tax or tariff on goods coming from Mexico and as well as Canada, and extra 10%, that is 35% on China. So because of this also, again the value of rupee had been decreased. Okay, now let us see the keywords. So here the important keyword is rupee depreciation. So this topic is important from your GS paper 3 under economy, and even from GS paper 2 under international relations. So what is important from economy? So in economy, you will be studying about this topic called as trade. And you will be studying about this chapter called as WTO. And even you will be studying about Indian currency. That is nothing but Indian rupee or value of rupee. So in trade, you have to see about imports and exports. And you have to see about especially import ban and as well as import tariff or import tax. Because now this article said that because of changes in trade policy of US on the countries where they are getting imports, it is having impact on our economy. So you have to know about clearly regarding what is trade, what is import tax, what is export tax, what are tariff, different types of the things. And next one is WTO. So we have an organization, that is organization which is focusing on ensuring of free and fair trade between the different countries because of this globalized era. So every country is connected with any other way with another country. So here free and fair trade is very important. But what is this doing? So what is the role of WTO? So whether the role is decreasing or diminishing, what do you say? Because US wants to import more tariff, but it is saying on the name of national security. So how far it is correct? So whether our United Nations, whether our international organization like WTO, whether it is ensuring free and fair trade or not. So that is the thing that you have to think about from this WTO. And next about, you have to see the two concepts, that is appreciation. You have to see this concept called as appreciation. Next one is depreciation. So appreciation is nothing but increasing of value of rupee. Depreciation is nothing but decreasing of value of rupee. And whenever there is decreasing of value of rupee, so what will be the impact on our Indian economy? So what happens? Our imports will get costly. So what will be the impacts? Imports will get costly. So whenever imports are getting costly, our trade deficit will be furthermore widen, trade deficit will be increased. And even what happen, even it will depletes our foreign exchange reserves. So like that you have to see what is the impacts of this. And from international relations you have to see how global dynamics, how global dynamics will be impacting India's economy. How global dynamics will impact India's economy. For example, how it is having impact on employment, how it is having impact on rupee value, how it is having impact on our trade, that is exports and imports. Okay, so in this way you have to see different dimensions from this article. So now let us see here what exactly this article is talking about. So, in the wake of global economic turmoil, for example, Russia-Ukraine crisis, Israel-Gaza issue, and even 2.0 era of Trump, lots of the changes came up by this Trump in this 2.0 era. So, because of all these global economic turmoils, so we are now experiencing significant decline and breaching the mark of 87 against $1. So $1 is equal to now 87 rupees. So now if you see some important details, you can understand about the impact of tariff. So recently President Donald Trump, he announced that he is going to increase tariff on Canada, Mexico and as well as China. But in today's article they said that we are going to impose tariff on this Canada and China, but we are going to think about Mexico. Okay, but overall the policy of Trump, which is saying that they are going to impose more tariffs on different countries, so because of this that will leads to increased volatility in global market, such that it is having obviously impact on Indian rupee value. That means we can understand that what is happening in the globe, like global economics, it is having impact on our Indian economy as well. That means we will be having ripple effects worldwide. And next important one is depreciation of Indian rupee can make our imports more expensive. So because of this, what happened? It will be depreciating our or decreasing of our foreign exchange reserve. That will be further widening our trade deficit. But on another side, it will make our Indian exports competitive. Okay, so already you know that in yesterday's class in budget, so they are focusing on the fourth engine, that is increasing of exports. So because of this, yes, we can also increase our exports. Okay, and next one here is our economic philosophy. What is our economic philosophy? So Indian government through representatives, they want to articulate a clear economic philosophy, that is rejection of notion of manipulating exchange rates for export promotion. And actually we are always focusing on sustainable economic growth, and actually India is always known for improving of its quality and as well as competitive advantages rather relying on devaluation. So here there is a one word called as devaluation. So I said about appreciation, depreciation, but what is the difference between this depreciation and devaluation? So whenever market forces or deciding the value of rupee against dollar, that is called as depreciation or appreciation. That is entirely based on supply and demand. That is nothing but market forces. If government wants to decrease the value of currency of its own, that is called as devaluation. So actually in our Indian economic philosophy, we will not focus on this devaluation of currency. So we don't want to decrease our value by the government. So actually this technique which is followed by the China will go for devaluation of their currency. Because of that, they grabbed almost all markets in the world as good exporter. Okay. So if you see the second or third important point here, so this article is saying that managing uncertainty. So there is acknowledgement of global uncertainties by Indian officials, which indicates a pragmatic approach to economic policy. So they are focusing on predicting or controlling of external factors. And this article is saying that, so we have to focus on self-reliance. We have to focus on competitiveness. so that it will be very crucial for this global economic instability. And next one is we have to focus on regulations. So regulations, they will create some cost disadvantages. So government is taking some steps for improving of an environment for business so that we can maintain competitiveness, so that even in this challenging landscape also we can fight for something. Okay, so those things which are mainly said in this article. And now let us see the next article, guys. See here, sees Kerala's vehicles dumping medical waste in Tamil Nadu, says High Court. So actually, if you see this image, there is some water here, and here you can see this entire area is covered with water. But in this coast of this water, they are going for dumping of medical waste. Okay. So here this article is very important. So one keyword that identified in this article here is biomedical waste. It is biomedical waste. So this article is important from GS paper 2 under governance point of view, and even from GS paper 3 under environment and ecology point of view. Okay, so what are the dimensions you have to see, guys? So first one is you have to know what is this biomedical waste is about, and you have to know some examples of this biomedical waste. Because if you want to write any answer regarding this, obviously you will start writing with definition, and you have to give certain examples in definition part. So for that you have to know about definition and as well as some examples. So after this, if possible, you can collect some data regarding biomedical waste management in India, how it is going on. And next one is you have to see whether there are any rules regarding management of this biomedical waste. And if you have been to hospital, so there you will be seeing different dustbins. For example, some dustbins are like green color, red color, yellow color. That means for time pass they didn't keep that, right? So you have to see like which kind of waste should be disposed in that, which kind of color bucket it is or color bin it is. So here you have to know about color codes of biomedical waste management in India as well. So you may get a question regarding that as well. Okay, and even you have to see like what will be the impact on impact on environment. So for example, whenever we are going for dumping of this waste near a sea or near a water body or near a beach, then what happen? It will be having obviously negative impact on environment. You have to see what kind of negative impact it may cause, because in this article they said that they are going for dumping of this biomedical waste from Kerala, that too they are taking to Tamil Nadu and they are dumping at this beach. So it is having impact on marine biodiversity as well. So you have to see what kind of impact it will be. So all these are the dimensions that you have to see, guys. Now let us see some important points. So here this article is saying that taking a serious view of medical waste from other states, particularly Kerala, being dumped in Tamil Nadu, Madurai beach of Madras. So actually they are dumping at this Madurai beach in Tamil Nadu. So because of this now, Madras High Court observed that yes, officers now they can confiscate or they can seize these vehicles which are bringing this medical waste from Kerala and they are dumping. So what is this biomedical waste? It refers to the human or animals anatomical waste. That means after treating of humans or animals, they will be getting waste. For example, if they're doing delivery, so baby is brought outside, and what are the waste that is there? For example, umbilical cord which is very long, and even whatever the water that is water which is present inside the womb, and even whatever this placenta and other things they are removing it out, that is called as biomedical waste. And not only that, whenever any surgeries are done, so if they are removing any body part, that is biomedical waste. Or whatever the needles they are using for stitches, for like giving of injections, water syringes. Now we have single use disposable needles or syringes. So after once the use is done, they have to be disposed of. So all these things will comes under biomedical waste, even the gloves they are using, everything. Okay, so here this biomedical waste includes any waste from the anatomy of this animal or like human, that is body parts, and apart from that needles and syringes and other materials which are mainly used in healthcare facilities like cotton, etc. Okay, so it is classified as biologically and chemically hazardous waste because they will be having for sure microbial growth or microorganisms contaminants. So what are the methods that we'll use for the disposal of this biomedical waste? So we'll be having options like incineration, and we have plasma pyrolysis, deburials, autoclavings, and recycling. So these are the methods that we have to go for disposal, but they are going for just throwing it in a beach area. Is it right? Not at all. Okay, now let us see what are the rules which are present in our country. They are called as Biomedical Waste Management Rules of 2016. So according to these rules, it mainly says that these rules which have been expanded even to the vaccination camps, blood donation camps, surgical camps, or any other health activity. And even chlorinated plastic bags and as well as gloves, blood bags have been phased out within 2 years starting from 2016 March. And they said that pre-treatment of laboratory waste, microbiological waste, blood samples, blood bags through disinfection or sterilization on the site according to WHO standards. And this biomedical waste had been classified into 4 types. For example, we have blue waste, that means broken or discarded glass, and yellow waste includes human and animal anatomical waste or solid waste, or discarded medicine, chemical waste, and contaminated linen. And in the white we have different metals including needles and as well as scalpels. And here in the red waste we have to dispose syringes, tubes, or gloves, etc. So in this way we have to segregate waste according to this waste management rules. Okay, so these are the colors: blue, yellow, white, and red. And now let us see the next article. Title says Himalayas in Arunachal Pradesh lost 110 glaciers in 32 years, says study. So this article is talking about climate change impact on losing of glaciers. Okay, now let us see here the keyword. First one is glaciers. Second keyword is climate change. First one is glaciers, second one is climate change. So from which subject you can see? So glaciers you can see from GS paper 1 under geography. And even from GS paper 3 under environment and ecology also you will be seeing about this. And in the recent past, because of this glacial lake outburst floods, it is causing disaster. So you can also see from GS paper 3 under disaster management. And the climate change topic that you can see from GS paper 3 under environment and ecology. So what are the dimensions that you have to see from geography? You have to see definition of glacier, and you have to see some examples of glacier, and you have to open map of India, and you have to point out important glaciers of our country. Okay, and you have to see what are the reasons for formation of these glaciers. And even in your geography there is a chapter called as landforms. So in that landforms you have to see landforms formed by glaciers. There again we have 2 types, that is depositional features and as well as erosional features. So you have to see all of them from geography. From environment and ecology you have to see data of melting of glaciers. Data of melting of glaciers in India. And next you have to see the recent report. So one report is saying that there is increased formation of glacial lakes. So whenever glacial lakes are increasing, that will lead to glacial lake outburst flood. So you have to see, and even you have to see what are the causes. What are the causes for increasing of melting of glaciers in our country? And from disaster management point of view, you have to see what are the precautionary steps we can take to control this glacial lake outburst flood. And even you have to see relief and rescue. Okay, and next one is you have to see DM cycle as well. And from environment and ecology here, regarding climate change, you have to see what are the causes of climate change and what is the impact, and you have to see relevant examples. So if you do this, then you can write any question which is related to these three things. Okay, now let us see this article clearly. So recent study which highlights that there is increasing rate of glacier loss. So where there is glacier loss is happening in eastern Himalayas of Arunachal Pradesh. And this is revealing that around 110 glaciers have disappeared within a span of 32 years. From last 32 years onwards, 110 glaciers in Arunachal Pradesh they had been disappeared. You have to open Arunachal Pradesh map and you have to see which area glaciers had been disappeared. Okay, and if you see some important facts, it is saying that glacier retreat is a climate change indicator. Retreat is nothing but decreasing of size. For example, let us take this is a glacier. Okay, so this is a glacier. So earlier we used to have covered with entirely ice like this. Now what happened, there is decreasing of size of ice. It is called as retreat. So retreat is nothing but decreasing of size of glacier is called as retreat. Okay, now let us see what is this article saying. So here this article is saying that whenever there is decreasing of size of glacier, it is a clear indicator of climate change, as glaciers melt faster than they replenish. Replenish nothing but whenever they want to revive themselves. So if you see the time taken to replenish and to retreat, retreat is happening very fast compared to that of replenish. So because of this, around 110 glaciers in Arunachal Pradesh, they had been disappeared. Okay, that means because of rising of temperature, which is threatening our ecosystem. It is also, which is going to have impact on our water resources as well as perennial rivers, which are originating from these glaciers in the northern part of our country. And next one is advanced research techniques. So here we can use remote sensing and as well as geographic information systems so that we can accurately assess glacier boundaries. And even it is like challenging debris covered areas. And it says that yes, we have to focus on technological advancements in environmental studies, and even we have to enable more precise monitoring of climate change impacts. And next one is we have to focus on regional as well as global climate change. So actually if you see in Himalayan region temperature, it is increasing from 0.1 degree centigrade to 0.8 degree centigrade per decade. That means per every 10 years there is increasing of temperature. So if you see the global average, it is approximately 0.7 degree centigrade in last century. That means even in this regional area, that is in Himalayan region, there is increasing of temperature change. So because of this, we are going to face some unique vulnerabilities in the future. So here we need to go for targeting of climate action, and we have to focus on increased research in this region. And next one here is this article which is also saying that whenever there is increasing of melting of glaciers. So for example, the melting of glacier is happening. So in this region what happens, it can form a lake that is called as glacial lake. So there will be increasing of glacial lake. So whenever glacial lake is happening, if the capacity of that lake is increasing furthermore, that will lead to glacial lake outburst floods. Okay, so that can result in catastrophic flooding and even loss of life and even damage to different dam structures are present. In 2023 in Sikkim disaster, what happened? So one important dam had been destroyed and even it created like more chaos in this region. And this one here is, if you see the future prediction, so this study which mainly forecasts that there is increasing of potential temperature rise of 5 to 6 degrees centigrade. That will lead to 20 to 30% of increase in precipitation by the end of the century. So because of this, now we have to take some urgent climate mitigation actions for sure, so that we can decrease impact on our ecosystem, and as well as we can decrease our impact on biodiversity, and even we can focus on weather patterns, and as well as we can secure human livelihood as well. So these are the things that mainly said. And even there are lots of negative impacts on our ecosystem, because whenever there is loss of glacial cover, it will not only affect water availability, but even it will be having impact on local biodiversity as well. So whenever the glacial retreat happens, so ecosystem that rely on this thing, they will be also getting wiped off. They will be also getting stressed. So because of this, it will be affecting this local food webs, local food chains, that will lead to decline of the species. So here we have to understand like how we can protect environment and ecosystem, so that it will be having impact on our conservation system as well. Okay, and here this article is saying that we have to take some climate change related steps, and especially regions like Arunachal Pradesh, they have to focus on more steps, and policymakers, researchers, communities, they have to collaborate together, so that they can come up with some sustainable practices and adaptive strategies, so that we can mitigate the impact of climate change, and we can protect critical water resources as well. So this is the thing which mainly said in this article. And now let us see the next article. It is about green and clean. So this article is talking about critical minerals. Okay, so now we have to see some basic facts regarding what are these critical minerals, what are the examples of these critical minerals, and as well as what are the steps taken by our country, and why we have to focus on these critical minerals. Okay, so the key word here is critical minerals. So from which subject we can see this? From GS paper 3 under economy, and from GS paper 3 under science and technology, and also from GS paper 2 under international relations. So from all these subjects we can see this topic of critical minerals. Okay, so how can you see from this economy? You have to see about advantages of our economy, like how these critical minerals will contribute to economic growth and economic development. That means we have to see about applications of this critical minerals. That means in which sectors or in which areas we can use them. And from science and technology, you have to see about again applications part. And from international relation, you have to see like from which countries we are going for importing of them. Okay, so now let us see here this article. So this article, first of all, let us try to understand what is critical minerals. Critical minerals are those minerals which are very much essential for economic development and even for our national security of a country. So if we are not having the availability of this critical minerals, then what happens? It will be having impact on vulnerability and as well as disruptions, because we have to depend on other country now. So we will be having supply chain disruptions as well. So now let us see why critical minerals are important for India. For first one here is for modern technology. For the foundation of modern technology, yes, we need this kind of critical minerals for sure. For example, electric vehicle batteries, and for medical appliances. For example, we will be having big machines which will be working on infrared radiations or magnetic resonance, that is MRIs and CT scans. So for operation of such kind of medical applications or the like equipments also, we need this critical minerals. And next one is energy transition. So actually India having an ambitious goal of achieving this net zero or like carbon neutrality by year 2070. So to achieve that, we need to move from non-renewable towards renewable energy sources. So for that also critical minerals is very important For example, production of solar panels, for semiconductors, for wind turbines, for batteries for storage and transportation. In all these areas, we need these critical minerals. And next one is futuristic economy. So for the future global economy, it is going to be powered by technologies that will be dependent on the minerals like, for example, lithium, graphite, cobalt, titanium, and rare earth metals. And they will be acting as a building blocks for green and digital economy as well. And next one is for self-reliance. So if you're identifying these critical minerals in our country, we can depend ourselves on ourselves, right? And we can also focus on domestic manufacturing as well. So for all these things, yes, it is very important. And what are the initiatives which are taken by our country so far? So first one here is Planning Commission. So Planning Commission 2011 itself, which highlighted about the need for assured availability of mineral resources for the country's industrial growth. And even there are around 12 minerals and metals they were identified as strategic minerals. For example, tin, cobalt, lithium, germanium, gallium, indium, beryllium, tantalum, tungsten, bismuth. So these are an example of our critical minerals and you have to remember. And next one is Ministry of Mines. So Ministry of Mines also constituted a steering committee. And this steering committee which is focuses on especially availability of rare earth elements in our country. And next one here is we are also having a council called as Council on Energy, Environment and Water, that is CEEW. So this study which mainly said that yes, we can ensure mineral resources security in the manufacturing sector. And this study also said that around 13 minerals that would be the most critical by 2030, and they gave the 13 minerals here. Just go through that. And next one is we are also having this Geological Survey of India. So that is also focusing on especially securing of rare earth metals in our country. And even CSEP, that is Center for Social and Economic Progress, also working on a paper. So that title of that paper is Assessing Critically of Minerals in India. So it is evaluated like critically there are 43 non-fuel minerals in India. They are based on two dimensions. The first one is economic importance and even supply chain risk. So these are the things that you have to remember from critical minerals. And now I love this article of the day, that is kind of jobs that are needed now to achieve this Viksit Bharat. And this is a very important article and it gives a very lot of insights regarding which kind of jobs can be generated in this era so that we can achieve the status of developed India by 2047. So now let us see those clearly. So first one is we need to generate jobs in this climate resilient. So especially actually climate change is happening and you know that because of climate change it is having lots of impacts on our country. So here we have to generate the jobs that are focuses on climate resilient as well as climate adaptation. And here there are some estimates which is saying that if you want to go for adaptation, so it will be reaching around $1 trillion by 2030. And so that government need to invest in this climate resilient jobs, the first one. And next one here is we can go for subsidizing of e-rickshaws in villages to improve mobility and we can create jobs there. And particularly women, thereby addressing both transportation and employment challenges. So we can go for climate resilient like using of e-rickshaws in rural areas. We can go for creating of jobs and as well as women empowerment and as well as transportation issues can be done. This is the first idea. And second one is automation and AI. So because of increasing of AI, it is also posing threats, okay, to the jobs because of high automation. And actually one institute which is saying that around 50% of automation will be achieved in the next decade. So that especially many sectors like IT and business services, they are going to be affected. So now we have to focus on human-centric roles. We have to foster or improve creativity and physical engagement of people. And we have to increase budget in education as well as healthcare so that these critical sectors will be addressed. So that obviously whenever we are having strong human capital, we can also increase the job demands. And next one is rural youth. So actually here this article is saying that we have to engage students with startups. Okay, youth, they will be having often lack of confidence because of inadequate foundational education, socio-economic challenges you're having. So here government need to focus on creation of non-farm job creation, like developing integrated pack houses and also enhancing productivity in rural manufacturing. So we have to develop rural manufacturing, and that means we have to provide proper education as well as non-farm job creation in rural areas. And next one is infrastructure development. So whenever we are focusing on this infrastructure, obviously we can create job creation. So here there is a proposal to build around 70,000 integrated pack houses so that we can address infrastructure gap in the rural areas, and as well as we can create millions of jobs. And next one is tech enabled agriculture. So here we can also focus on improving of technology in agriculture. For example, recently we had this drone Didi scheme where women are providing drones for spraying of pesticides, etc. in the agriculture, right? So here we have to focus on increasing of technology in agriculture so that we can also reduce our dependence on imported edible oils. For example, we will be getting palm oil from this Indonesia, Malaysia, and even sunflower from this Ukraine and Russia. So if you are improving technology and if you are producing in our country, obviously we can reduce our dependency on edible oils import. And even we can also revitalize domestic oil processing, and we can boost local production, and obviously we can create local jobs or local employment so that we can enhance self-sufficiency and as well as economic resilience in rural areas. And last point here is we need to go for public-private partnership. It is very important for the job creation in our country. And especially we have to focus on research in the different sectors and resources, and we have to come up with a patch up so that we can obviously go for promotion of sustainable economic growth, and even we can go with some innovative solutions, and we can address some local needs and as well as national goals as well. So these are the things which are given in this article, and if you are writing any essay or any answer regarding job creation or unemployment problems, etc., you can write these 5 more points so that you can enhance your answer very good. Okay, now let us see other articles. So first one is Delhi's gender budget, its decline and impact. So this article is talking about gender budget. Gender budget is a concept that which says that we have to provide some amount of money for women empowerment or women needs. So this article is saying that while providing assistance to women and child development, so it will be helpful for reducing of gender gap in our country. And it is equally important to invest in other components like education as well as health. Not only investing on women and child is important, but even we have to focus on education and as well as health also. So the budget which is allocated for women education in Delhi is steadily declined in last 5 years. So because of this, they are mainly focusing on not only focusing on women and child, but even focusing on education and health is important. So that is the thing which mainly said. So here you have to see what is this gender budget, what is the meaning of this, and you have to see how much amount of money from budget will be spent for this women and women empowerment things, and you have to see what are the advantages of the gender budget and what are the disadvantages or challenges. And next last article of the day is how will the government produce the required fuel ethanol. So this article is talking about ethanol. Ethanol is nothing but alcohol. So which is mainly produced from sugar cane, right? So here this article is saying that we have a target of achieving 20% of ethanol blending in petrol. So why we have to go for ethanol blending in petrol? If you're going for directly using of petrol in your vehicles, it will not burn completely. So because of this, whenever you are raising this thing, you will be getting a smoke which is having the black color soot. That is nothing but PM 2.5, PM 10 will be released into environment. So if you are using this blending of ethanol, that is 20% of ethanol which is blended with this petrol, it will allow for the complete combustion of this petrol. So even that will be releasing the residues which are releasing into our environment. So we can also reduce vehicular pollution. So here this article is saying that we have an ambitious target of 20% of ethanol blending in petrol in the next 2 months. So actually sugar is expected to provide some 400 crore liters of ethanol this year. So actually, as government had imposed caps on allowing sugar and high quality of molasses for ethanol production, maize imports started ramping up in April 2024. So recently, if you go and see 1 week back current affairs, so we discussed that government removed ban on export of sugar. That means now government can export sugar to other countries. So if you are exporting directly sugar to other countries, we cannot produce the required ethanol. So if you're not producing required ethanol, then how can we achieve our target of 20% of ethanol blending? So it is a one important question. So what is happening from last 1 week or 10 days? It is also important, like what is happening or what is given today in our newspaper. So you have to be interconnecting. So your interconnecting should be very good. Like you have to connect the dots which are there in the newspaper so that you can analyze very well. So here this article is saying that recently government lifted this ban on sugar export. Now sugar can be exported. If sugar is exported, so everyone will be focusing on exporting of sugar. No one will focus on producing this ethanol. So if you're not producing ethanol, how can we achieve this 20% target? So if you're not achieving this 20% target, there will be increasing of vehicular pollution. That will lead to the increasing of emissions, increasing of global warming. How can we achieve our carbon neutrality or net zero by 2070? It is a big question. That is the thing which is raised here. So just see about what is this 20% of ethanol blending and what are the advantages and what are the challenges. And here one more thing that you have to focus is sugar. So here sugar production in India and in the world, which is the largest producer and which is the largest exporter and importer. So those things that you have to see. And you have to see about tropical sugarcane and as well as temperate sugar in our country. And you have to see about even sugar industries where they are located in our country. So all these things are relevant. Okay. So these are the some important topics that appear in our today's Hindu newspaper. So by this I'm concluding. Thank you so much guys for watching and please do like this class and share this class. And don't forget to subscribe to Rathods Science Academy.